Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our space. And before we even get started, this just came to me as we were the music was coming in. I was like, everybody take a moment. Go get yourself your beverage, get your water, get
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
always have our journal and pen ready because we just never know
Mm-hmm.
what wisdom's gonna drop from wherever it's gonna drop. Get your
Mm-hmm.
I love Marissa went and got her quick snack and
Got me a little
go ahead, show
snacky.
the peoples. That's right. That's right. So this is the space. This is your space. Like just take a moment to get what you need and come into
Mm.
the space. You know, comfort, comforted, and you know, cared for by yourself
Mm.
and ready. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Open to receive. Yeah, ready to
open to
receive.
receive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That being said, I suppose we should introduce ourselves.
I'm ready.
All right. I'll go. I'm Latoya, your spiritual inner power coach, guide, and practitioner, and helping our women really overcome the ishness, right? Overcome
Mm.
it's not even the fears, right? It's really just getting to the next level of yourself. That's really what it is, right? Getting to the next level of loving yourself, trusting yourself, believing in yourself, right? Getting to the next step of your life. And my modalities are Reiki and EFT tapping, really helping to clear the energy body and really clear the mind, clear the subconscious, clear the nervous system so that you can reconnect to your intuition and really be who
Mm-hmm.
you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here with
With
my girl.
Marissa. I am Marissa, a free, courageous, authentic woman. And I am a woman who also is okay with starting over again and as many times as possible. So I support Black folk in their starting over, their transformation. I have pivoted recently my business and am going to be talking about that a little bit more. But I use the power of breath and breath work, conscious breathing, to support people in regulating their nervous system as well as connecting to their inner knowing so that we can release and really hear what it is our bodies, our sacral centers are sharing with us,
Mm.
and form more intimate relationships with ourselves and those around us. So that is me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before we get into our topic today, um, I know that you have pulled some wisdom for us.
Yes. So before coming in here, we both were a little this, whatever that is. Not always words for the things.
Thank you for showing
Um,
that. Yes, a little bit.
so I pulled a card to say what should what will we be learning today, or what I feel like I said, what do we need more understanding of, or somewhere around there. And I pulled the temperance card. So let me see if my light will allow you all to see
Mhm.
her,
Mhm.
from my modern witch deck. And it's a woman who has one foot in the water, one foot on ground. There's some mountains and the sun behind her. She has two cups that she's like pouring water back and forth from, and these beautiful red wings. And the card says, balance is a beautiful thing. Temperance is a radiant angel decked out in rainbows, balancing one foot on land and the other in the water as she confidently pours water from cup to cup. Sunflowers are bursting behind her, and the sun is bright and full of joy. Temperance is the perfect alchemist, and she's full of song as she blends things together in harmony. Your life is off kilter, and you need to create some balance. Maybe you're burnt out from working too much, or you've been binge watching TV all weekend, and now your house is a mess. So it's now time to put your house in order and start doing things in moderation. You'll find that if you work to balance all the different aspects of your life, everything feels so much easier. Try and face this task with optimism and positivity, and enjoy all the wonderful things in your life equally.
Mm.
So it doesn't have to be like the literal exactly what this says right now. it is about finding balance, from what I am taking away from it. And for me, finding balance is grieving an old way of being as well
Mm.
as celebrating new ways of being. Um, and I think this is the perfect conversation to talk about undo, unlearn, unwinding when we
Yeah.
are understanding there's old ways of being that may not have served us or may not serve us anymore, but they still kind of creep up as we are learning the new, and just finding balance with that. That's what I'm taking away.
Yeah. No, I think that that's beautiful, and thank you for sharing that, and sharing the way that you're taking what you're taking away from it, because you allow for the deeper introspection.
Mm.
Yeah. For me, it's literal.
I appreciate the honesty. Yes.
Yeah, for me, it's get your house in order. And yeah, because I'm like that. I think personality wise, like
Mm.
when I get an interest in something, it's like, okay, I'm diving full. I'm in there every day, all day. I'm like, ooh, like my notebook is full and I am getting all the things. And then it's like, damn it, I gotta cook dinner. Ah. Why the things of the earth? Why?
Yes. Yes.
um, so sorry, I gotta grab my pen. But yeah, so that and then so for this week, y'all, I gotta share this because I'm so proud of myself. I made Jamaican patties, and
Ooh.
my family's Jamaican, and so I
Mm.
like even Jamaicans don't make Jamaican patties. Like it's just you just go to the shop, you go to the store and get Jamaican patties. But I'm in Portugal and there is no shop with Jamaican patties, so I was
Mm.
like, you know what? I'm gonna do this.
Mm.
So I had been in like, and I'm not a cook. I don't like to cook. That's my disclaimer. I don't like it. Nothing about it. Not the
Okay.
shopping,
I love
nothing
this.
about it. I love to eat. I will eat,
Same.
but I don't like to cook. So but I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this week. So, this week I was like, astrology wise, I'm like in my fourth house. I'm in this home thing. I'm like, I bought myself a rolling pin. I was like, I'm about to make this pastry. I'm about to, you know, I was in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all didn't see no post from me, right? Like I'm like, I'm here
Mm-hmm.
and everything else non-exists. So
Yeah,
whenever I'm like here, and there's a goodness to that, right? Though, because
it is
there's a goodness to that.
presence.
I'm a presence, right?
Yeah.
Like I am that person. I have worked on that for a long time in my life. Like when I'm present, I'm present.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is
Yeah.
that not just some goodness? There's a lot of goodness in that. Like, let the people miss you a little bit, right? Let the people
Well,
miss you a little bit, and you'll come back. You'll come back with a new focus. Yeah,
mhm.
I love this, and I love that you shared that you don't like to cook, and that is part of this unlearning idea that that's what women are supposed to do, especially when they get married or whatever, or when they're to be partnered. You have to know how, and you have to like it. Like, no,
And you have to like it.
that's not everybody's story.
The
Thank
cliche,
you.
the way to a man's belly, and the way to a man's heart is through his belly, right? That
That's the
you
way to
always
my
heard
heart.
that.
Okay.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, and how much, I'm going to use this word, but how much baggage do we carry,
Mm.
some of us, because we were trying to fit a mold that we were not meant to fit,
Yeah.
right? We were trying to, we just, we formed, and I know I did, we formed another mask so that we could put it on,
Yeah.
so that we could play the part,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Most of I mean, I would say, what year am I in right now? 30. So I would say at least the last 36 years of my life. I mean, yeah, like learning how to undo or take that mask off is a part of the unlearning that we get to do about why we need to have the mask on in the first place.
Because that's exactly where I was going to go, right? That's exactly where I was going to go because when we're in it, a lot of times we think like this is a universal thing, like this is a universal truth, right?
Yeah,
We're supposed to like cooking. We're supposed to want to bear children. We're supposed to like cleaning the house. We're supposed to like that, right?
yeah,
Um, I'm going to share something. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to share it anyway. But like you, like I came into my awakening pretty late, and I remember feeling this enormous guilt when I was pregnant with my first one because I was like, I do not like to cook, and I remember feeling enormous guilt about that and shame. Wait, let me say that word and
yeah,
shame
yeah,
and shame
yeah.
because that's your lot in life. You're supposed to like it and be good at it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But when I and here's the other thing too, and maybe somebody else can identify with me. I would be like in awe whenever I met a woman who was open about it. You
Mm,
know, who was like open and in her
mm.
inner authority and, comfortable in her skin and was just like, I don't cook, girl. And I was like, and oftentimes like, especially after I had my first, I had my first when I was 30. And I remember like being like a little girl inside, like, you just said that? You said it out loud and you are loud and proud and it's okay. Oh, I want to be like you when I grow up. I remember feeling like that, right?
Yeah,
And now I feel that I am that.
yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And it is also, it takes people like you and like, other women who feel the same way to like deprogram us from thinking that it has to be this certain kind of way. Right? Yeah.
All right. So
Go
so
ahead.
this is
What you
this is
telling
what I'm
us?
going to share. This this is
Okay,
what I'm
let
going
me
to
get my
share.
little yogurt so I can.
About this programming.
Mhm.
So here we are in Portugal, and we decided to take Portuguese classes, right? So we're in official Portuguese classes. We got our textbooks and everything. We go to class twice a week, and we're doing the exercises. And I can't remember. We're writing, we're listening, we're writing, and the example was, and this is culture, right? So I'm not downing anybody's culture, but we're just talking about programming. In this textbook,
Mhm.
the example was the unusualness of the man not being able to go home to a prepared lunch, right?
Mhm.
Because the usualness is that he goes home, he's working, and he goes home, she stays home and she cooks the lunch, right?
Mhm.
And there was like what's the word? A disappointment, a sadness, right? Because he now has to fend for himself, right? He now has to go get some lunch. Now I'm laughing as I was like, and I'm doing my, and I look up at Chris like, this is in the textbook,
Mhm.
2023.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is in the textbook. So we
Yeah.
we have a whole conversation about it afterwards. Now you must know my husband's in his awakening because we have a baby girl, and he's like, she's gonna be who she needs to be, right? So the undoing and the unprogramming, and for him that's a big deal too because he comes from the epitome of that programming, and
Mhm.
you know and he had five sisters,
Oh
so
wow.
four older and one younger, and not much
Mhm.
younger than him, right? So he
Yeah.
literally didn't he didn't touch his own clothes. He didn't touch dishes. He didn't, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Wow.
so yeah, so the depth of the programming
Mhm. 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 Mm.
causes us, when we're having an awakening or when we're coming into our own identity that may not be in full alignment with this programming, causes us then to create these masks so that we can survive
Yeah. 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 Okay. I'm on board.
in our
Mm.
culture, in our religion,
Mhm.
in our family setting,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Wow. So what has it been like, or what has it been like versus what is it like now when it comes to that one responsibility of like cooking?
You know, it really, I think, came to a head when I joined the military,
Mm.
or when I decided to join the military. Um, because it is what it is,
Yeah.
right? Now, mind you, I am going to say this. We used to have a running inside joke, right? He would be like, "Hey, what's for dinner?" And I would be like, "Hey, I'm not Mexican." So um let's recalibrate. You know, we used to have this running joke, and he would laugh, and I'd be like, "Hey, remember, I'm from Boston,
It's
so
different. It's different there.
you marrying a Bostonian,
Yeah.
so let's recalibrate." You
Yeah.
know, and so we always had that running joke. But I, right, also came from, Jamaican culture. I came from a very conservative religious background, so there was a lot of programming running in me too. And even though I was like, "Hey, I'm Bostonian. Hey, I'm I'm me," right? I
Mhm.
still had shame running in the this tape of shame running in the background. You
Yeah.
should, you should, you
Mhm.
should,
Mhm.
right? Internally. And I think it came to a head for me particularly, and probably for him too, is, I think, even though he was like, "Hey, I'm a free man." I'm, I'm out here living, it was still running in his background too. And
Yeah.
I think that that's important for us to know, that you may have this internal conflict, dialogue, friction, that you don't even know is there, because there's a subconscious program running,
Yeah.
right? Like in the
Yeah.
computer, right? There's an app open in the background.
Hilarious. Yes. That makes
Yeah,
sense. That makes
yeah.
so much sense. You know, I mean, at least around this topic, I actually I enjoy cooking when I want to do it.
Mm.
But I specifically have on my list a man who likes to cook. Okay. Because I
Okay,
like
now.
to eat more than I like to cook, if that makes sense. So yeah.
and and that they actually like to cook, and maybe not just cook for you, because
Yeah.
when we first got married, my husband was cooking, and I was like, "Oh, we could do this." And then after 2 years, I was like, "What? What happened?" Now we both not cooking, so it's just a whole bunch of cereal in the pantry.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Oh, well, I had to go back to the temperance card and how we started.
Yes.
I remember you're sharing like you have been busy, busy, busy until you decided to make these patties. So one, what have you been busy on
Mm.
is a question. And two, um, is there a space of um unlearning a way of being busy that you can share?
Yeah. Ooh, this is good. This is interesting because it's something that I've been trying to work with my son on too. Ooh, this is so good. Thank you for asking, because now I'm like, he gets it from me.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
um, so timers, when I use them, they work for me.
Okay. Okay.
Um, timers are powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I am a depth person.
Okay.
Um, yeah, when I go in, I'm in. And yeah, and don't talk to me, don't bother me. I'm
Yeah.
annoyed. I'm annoyed by everybody and everything because I'm here. I'm in this thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, but what's helpful for me is timers. Exactly what that temperance card said, being able to and she's spot on. She's spot on, because when I do that, when I set a timer and then I'm like, okay, the timer goes off. Okay, now it's time to be in my family, right? And I can, and what that does for me is help me pre-prepare, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm making dinner at dinner time, I'm frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm irritated,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if I set the timer and then at 3 p.m. I'm making dinner and it's done, so that I know when I go back into whatever I'm
Mm-hmm.
in and dinner time comes, I'm okay, because I'm like, okay, I've prepared. Either they can go ahead or I can pause and I can eat dinner with them, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So and I've been teaching my son that, because he is the same way. The
Mm.
same way. And he's a music producer, and so when he's in it, he's in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he'll lose himself in that for a week, 2 weeks, and then the schoolwork has gone by the wayside, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, but it's a what's the word I'm talking, it's then you fall into a self beating, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
a self disappointment,
Mm-hmm.
because not that you haven't been doing anything, not that you've been procrastinating or slacking off, but we were not temperate.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of counteracts the fact that we're supposed to be doing, showing up, being all of the things.
All
Right.
things at all times.
Yeah. 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 I like this example. Huh. So for me, being busy actually is not really doing much. So people will say, "Oh, I like how you're consistently showing up in email and on social media," right? And I
Mhm.
appreciate that. But a majority of my time is spent me chilling, going for a walk in the park. Like Tuesday, what was it Tuesday? Tuesday, I decided like I wanted to be silent or whatever. So I sat here and watched every episode of Queen Charlotte, every single one of them
Mm,
on
mm.
this couch. I ate, I watched, I drank and watched. Um, and then I took a shower, went outside for a walk or whatever. I took a shower. And when I got home, and then all of a sudden, my brain was like, poof, poof, poof. So I'm just here with it. Now you got an email. I done drafted a few of them, of a few of these emails, so that when you're receiving an email Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Friday, that's because on Tuesday night for about 2 hours, 3 hours, I was here with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the rest of the day, I was being.
Mhm,
Right. And
mhm,
sometimes I
mhm.
get inspired from what I'm watching. I get inspired just because I'm thinking through like different things that are coming up for me, what's going on in my life, how am I feeling? Like all of that stuff is kind of swirling around. And instead of beating myself up for thinking so much, I'm just taking the time and just allowing it to be in that moment. And so
Yeah.
when it's go time to work, my little 2, 3 hours can surpass somebody's whole day
Right,
because I've had
right.
I'm taking this moment to focus, and I've had the time to allow my nervous system to calm down, to engulf myself in things that I enjoy,
Mhm.
um, to feed myself because I did cook before that. Like it was a whole bunch of things that I did that made me feel good. Then I can show up better for other people. Now, this process may not work for everybody. And it's not something that I do every single day. A lot of the days I do, but it's not something that I would do every single day. And I know, like, I don't have children, or I am not in a committed relationship in this moment. But I do feel like some parts and pockets of your life that there are spaces for you to be able to create time to just be, and be inspires you to do.
Yes. And the way that I heard that was pleasure can bring productivity. I was like, see, that's why
Write that down.
down.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
Say it again. Pleasure
Can bring productivity.
bring productivity. That is true.
Yeah. We can make it, we can, hold on. We're going to add an adjective, with an adjective there, powerful productivity. Because
Yeah.
that's what it is. Because when you come back in, you're having a power hour or a power 2 hours, right? Like you're
Mhm.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I can say that I can say like when I really spend the time to do my meditative practices,
Hmm.
that's how that happens for me.
Yeah. And I'm just going back to what I created that day. And it was a few emails, some flyers. And I remember after getting up off the couch, and I went by a local spot, that I'll be doing this event called Awakening the Senses. I just
Mhm.
stopped by there to take some pictures and to speak to the owner, which is doing, right. It's part of what it is,
Yes.
but it was just enjoyable. I went on my own time. I stopped and had a great conversation with him, and then I went to the park for a walk. So when I came back and created this flyer, I used the artwork from the space for the flyer, and that inspired me to just keep going. So I did the flyer, I did a few emails, I updated my calendar, like I updated my web pages of all of the things that are coming up. And then I was like, whew, I'm tired.
I done did a lot.
Right. But I originally had this idea, like I had to be working at least, like, between the working hours when I first became an entrepreneur. That was the hardest part for me to give up. Like, between nine
Mm.
and five, I need to be doing something. And one thing that my friend said to me, one day we were talking, on a call, I think it was around 6-ish or whatever. And she was like, you still have 6 more hours left in your day. Because I was telling her I hadn't done enough, right?
Oh.
6 more hours in your day if you want to use them. And I was like, oh, I can work between the hours of 6 and 12, and that's fine too. Like, yeah. I don't know why all of a sudden it was just like a light bulb went off. It's like, I didn't get anything done today. It's 6 o'clock. It's like,
My day is over. It's done.
like you said,
Ooh.
a couple more hours. Go ahead.
Well, that I feel like that brings us back to the topic, right? Which was a conditioning,
Yeah.
right? There was a condition there.
Yeah. Yeah, that I had to work in these hours. That's when working hours are. And for
Hmm.
me, I'm not really like that. Like, um, after a certain hour at night, something just turns on for me.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, so during the day, something turns on for me around like between 2 and 6, that I
Hmm.
can really go crazy if I wanted to. And then again late at night for whatever
Hmm.
reason. And I used to beat myself up about it because I'm like, oh, then I won't be able to get up in the morning, or I'm going to be tired, or all these things. And it's like, use the energy that you have when you have it,
When
and
you
when
have it.
you don't. Yeah.
Because part of that is, and this is a big thing for me too, I think, because, uh, you know, and these things work for people and they're powerful in their own right. But when we are indoctrinated with, like, okay, the miracle morning, the magic happens before 8 a.m., the manna falls, before the sun comes up, like there are all these programming, right? It's what
Hmm.
it is. It's programming. And it's wonderful programming for their program.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you're in alignment, fantastic. But you know when you're not in alignment because you feel the friction, you feel the rub. You're starting to understand the tape that's running in the background, the app that's open. You're starting to understand that, wow, trying to run this app and be who I truly am is draining the battery.
Yeah. It's causing this thing to overheat over here. And I I can even speak to, I just was speaking about this in my last meeting before here. Like I'm in human design, I'm a manifesting generator, and us with the generator energy, like we have this battery pack that needs to be used all the way up before we go to bed. So you can tell me I need to be in the bed by 11, but I'm just going to be sitting there like, okay, now what? Right. And instead around 11, sometimes it's like my power hour, or a couple of hours. Honestly, I can be up till 1:30 in the morning and then be like, whoo, I'm pooped. I'll close my eyes and fall asleep immediately. But then I'm probably up by 9 and then the next morning, and that may be late for some people, early for some. um and I love a sunrise, but that's just not how I am built. It just doesn't work like that. And maybe it's the season, because there's sometimes that I can get up early and I want to. But it's about listening to what feels the most authentic to us, as opposed to, like you said, rubbing up against that friction and things just not working. Like if I tried to force myself to get up early every morning, I would be exhausted every day because I can't make myself go to sleep at night. Like I can read a book, I could phone a friend, I could do some work. Like there's certain things I just cannot, I can't force myself to go to bed. So I just wind down and allow my body to do what it wants to do. And when we're ready, we'll turn up. And I feel like I am very productive in like learning to move with the ebb and flow of what my body wants. Yeah. 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 What was I going to share? Oh, being busy. You said, what are you busy doing is my question. What you got going on? What are you creating?
I don't know yet is the answer.
Okay. I like this.
But something is happening.
Okay.
I don't know what it is yet, but I'm creating. Okay, so to answer the question, I'm creating this program. It's not a program, excuse me. It's an experience. I'm creating this healing experience. It's called Soul Elevation, and it's 7 months. Right, 7 months. We come into the woman's circle. We're doing the Reiki healing. We're hitting all seven. We're hitting the seven chakras, but healing the whole body. We're also hitting the 7 C's of inner power. What I call the 7 C's of inner power. And so really relating each chakra to one of the 7 C's and really going in and healing and releasing and being in a circle of women who are doing the same. We're going to be doing some really healing rituals, some full moon, some new moon, but really, really some releasing rituals that have come to me. Some deep meditative practices. And what I love is that it's empowering, right? So after the 7 months of really doing this overhaul work, they get to take all of these practices, these new learned practices with them and can carry on for the rest of their lives. So while I'm in this receiving mode for this experience, I got 2 bugs. One of them was go connect with sacred geometry. And go look at Vedic astrology. So, Vedic is different from Western. It's more ancient and shifts a little bit. Although it's perplexed because I'm a Taurus in both systems. So I'm like, give me a break. Like I'm really, really Taurus. Okay,
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Can't get away with it. I'm like, ooh, what else might I be? No, I'm still okay. Yeah. Fine. But so I'm learning. I'm in learning mode. And observing and hearing. Um, Ooh, and it's bringing up so much for me. It's bringing up so much of my shadow self.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm. Whew.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And
Yeah.
and really just in the learning, because I'm not sure yet how it comes into soul elevation, and I'm not even sure how. Maybe it's just I'm not sure, but it is proving it's a transformation for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not even a it's, it's so interesting, not even actually applying the science to myself, but in the process of learning, right? When I don't grasp it as quickly as I would like to, what does that say about me? How
Mm,
do I label myself? When I'm grasping it quickly and I'm feeling good, and then all of a sudden there's a new concept and I have no idea what's going on, right? And my tendency to shut down,
mm,
right? Um, and how do I get out of that shutdown,
mm,
right? And how do I allow myself to move through it? How other people experience me when I'm irritated at myself, when
mm-hmm.
I'm, going through this learning, how I see myself, most importantly, how I see myself, how I label myself, where I'm not giving myself grace and room.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are some of the still what are some still of the unlearning that I have to do
Yeah.
in order to make room for the new learning?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I appreciate your honesty, and like it's still unfolding, and I I don't necessarily have all the answers. And I know one thing that my breathwork mentor was sharing earlier this week. Shout out to Shanila. She she was sharing, like, if we're in this healing space and you're feeling like it's time to pivot, like you had all these ideas and all these ways of being and how you wanted to show up, but now you're feeling like we get something gets to change, and it is a normal time for that right now. And so you are just on track.
Absolutely. And I know it. And I
Yeah.
know it. And I guess here's what I'd like to share for someone who might also be on this track. And we've talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
That sometimes it's uncomfortable.
Not sometimes. Most of the time it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What helps is knowing that there is another side. There is an outworking of this whole process.
Yeah.
And typically it's beautiful, right? It's the unfolding of the flower. It's the squeezing through and then the spreading of the butterfly's wings, right?
Mhm.
There's a beautiful outworking on the
Yeah.
other side.
Yeah. And I also want to acknowledge you for um express again, it's the same acknowledgement but in a different way, because I think it gets to be said again. um how you just were like, I don't know, but here's the part that I do know. And
Mm.
we have been taught, like, if we don't have all the information, like, don't start speaking.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
sometimes when I start speaking, the information starts to come. But if I just
Yes.
bottle it up and keep it to myself because I'm afraid somebody's going to judge me, or I'm afraid somebody's going to ask me questions that I don't have answers to, or I'm afraid to not have all the information because somebody may act on it based on what they've heard me
Right.
say. Like,
Right. Right.
it doesn't, or somebody might steal my idea. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
It's like
Yes.
there's so many things that we've been taught, like, to keep everything to yourself, for whatever reason. And unlearning that sometimes you need to get it out so that you can really fully develop the idea, the thing, the project, the relationship, like yourself. Like, you just have to get it out. Um, Go ahead.
That's a big one for me. Yes. Thank you for saying that. Yes, that's a big one for me. And I'm just going to say it. There's so much behind that. And and it was and I had to allow myself, I had to give myself permission to see the shadow self, to see the energies behind that, right? When I'm afraid, that's okay, I don't have all the answers, but if I say it, somebody's probably going to steal my idea before I can get it out there. And then what that is an energy of lack, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough. And um and if somebody else does it, then there's not enough for me, right? Which then goes into I'm not enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um there was something else that you said, right? But this is a big one for me. And I heard it a lot too. You know, keep it to yourself, keep it secret, because there are a lot of people out there, negative energies. They don't want your best, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they'll try to put you down or try to put your, you know, your idea, your dream down or whatever. So just keep it to yourself. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Like I 1,000% disagree with that. I think secrecy is trauma. I
Mm-hmm.
just I just think that it is. I
I
think
agree.
that we're children of the light, and what's being birthed gets to be birthed in light. And in my life, let me just say this. In my life, I've come to understand that if I'm afraid that me speaking it is going to be snatched up by some negative energy, then the work for me is to clear the energy around me. That's the work. The work for me is like, who is around me so consistently and constantly that I'm afraid to speak this out? My dream doesn't need to be suppressed. They need to go,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That energy needs to go so that I
Yes.
can be free and the dream gets to be free.
Yes.
I
Yes.
I'm gonna say that loud and proud. I wholeheartedly disagree.
I
No, the
ugh,
dream gets to be free. There's power and frequency and vibration in you speaking that thing to life.
yes. Yes. 100% yes. And understanding, like, if you feel like you need to know the why these people are around you saying the things, sometimes it's their own fear. It has nothing to do with you.
Nothing at all.
They
Or the
can't
dream.
believe, yeah, or the dream. They can't believe that one, that you have the audacity to dream in this way, or they
Right.
can't fathom it working out for them, so of course it wouldn't work out for you. Or, there's been a moment where my father is like, you have done things that I didn't even think you could do, right? So there's people out here who it may be about you, like they don't think you can do it because they haven't accomplished the thing, or they may think you can't do it because society says that people like you can't do it.
Right.
Right? But
Right.
it's not about you specifically. It's like the collective people like you cannot do the thing,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And so, yes, I see in the Facebook chat, it says change your surroundings so you have dream supporters. Yes,
Ooh, let me tell
sometimes
you.
it means um I just see a user, I can't see the name. Oh, yeah, so sometimes that means changing where you live, where you hang out, the
Well,
people you hang out with, who you call when you're coming up, when you're stirring up something. If there's things that are coming up for you and you want to do a project or whatever, there's certain people you may not be able to share it with. So choose wisely as to who you're sharing it with. It doesn't mean you have to keep it all to yourself. It means you may not be able to tell them, that particular person. And that's
right.
okay, right? But you're still getting it out into the universe and speaking what it is that you desire and what you know to be true in your spirit, right? So, yes, when did competition become bad instead of something to
Yeah,
propel
you
you?
said that too.
Yeah, I mean, also, I
Talk
don't
about it.
yeah, I don't necessarily see it as competition either. I am me, you are you. We can be, there's a whole bunch of breathwork folks out here. There's a whole bunch of tapping folks out here, Reiki healers out here, yoga instructors out here. But it is me that you want because the energy that I bring. It is Latoya that they want because of the energy that Latoya brings. It doesn't matter if she does the same thing that I do or the next person does. People have their preferences around who they want to get work from, right? Like in my breathwork certification, I need to be a breather for a certain number of hours, and I need to facilitate a certain number of hours. So I was like, oh, well, let me mix it up with the people that I'm breathing with, different instructors. And I went to a class and I was like, this is terrible. I hate it. But it was another breathwork instructor, right? And she's
Mm.
working in a studio, and it's beautiful. And I'm sure her classes have people that come to it and enjoy it. It wasn't for me, right?
Mm.
So that just means there's enough space for all of us. That was inspiration. I didn't feel like she was my competition, but it was inspiration to be like, what you're doing is really good. It's for who it's for. It's not for everybody, right? Because what my experience was, it was a very transactional experience. Like I was like 3 minutes late into the room, which again, I was late, whatever you can say, whatever time is whatever. But I was 3 minutes late and they were already in the practice. And for me, in the first 15 minutes of my practice, either it be private or in group, like we are having a conversation. What is breath work?
Mm.
Does it benefit you? What you may experience in this practice or not experience in this practice? Why are
Right.
you here? What challenges are you facing that brought you into this space? And then we go into the breathing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes, maybe it's 5, but at least we're going to get to know each other just a little bit to
Right.
to to really exchange that energy instead of making it a transactional experience. And then at the end, she's
Mm.
like, we're good. I got to get ready for my next class. And I was like, oh,
It felt like wham bam, thank you, ma'am, for you.
yes. And I'm like, is this a corporation? Like I felt like I was back in the business world. And there's certain spaces that work for people because maybe they have to get back to work and that transactional experience works for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I believe we can still have a connected experience, even if it's for a short period of time, if we just take a moment to listen and
Right.
share knowledge and information.
Right.
Um, so, yeah, I say all that to say there's plenty of people who do what I do, what you do, but they are not you. So whoever is here, whoever is listening to this replay or currently, you have special gifts that may kind of look similar possibly to somebody else, but they are not you. They are not the same. So
Right.
keep moving forward with that idea, that dream, that thing that you know deep inside of your body that is for you. Absolutely.
So I wanted to, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I want to share a perspective.
Mm,
So hold on, let me stop pretending like I can read this. Okay, so a real short definition. I'm sure there are quite a few out there, right? But the competition, the activity or condition of striving to gain or win something by defeating
mm,
or establishing superiority over others,
mm, mm,
right? And then another the noun, an event or contest in which people, so we're talking about like sports or games, right? An event or contest in which people take part in order to establish superiority or supremacy
mm,
in a particular area,
mm,
right? And that word keeps coming up over and over again. The next one is a person or people over whom is attempting to establish one's supremacy or superiority, right?
mm,
So this is, I'm so glad. Thank you for saying this and bringing this up, right? Because this is one of those words that can carry a certain energy and frequency, and your intention and your motivation behind this word, it also matters. But historically, and also looking into our own history, our culture, our tradition, our religion, the masks that we have worn, right? The learning and the indoctrination and the projections that we've taken on, all of that.
yeah.
All of that. All what is all in the bag when we say that word competition?
Mm-hmm.
And where does this fit, right? And it may work for some people and it may work for you, right? But when I think about it, I was thinking about it as you were speaking. I was thinking about, okay, so when you go to the store, it's about 50 toothpaste products out there, right? It's about 50 or more.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does not matter
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to go buy your favorite.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
your favorite, in the grand scheme of things, really doesn't have a competition because it's your favorite,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's something unique, extraordinary that really connects with you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Now,
Yeah.
there could be 10 of them that are most efficient, but still
Mm-hmm.
taste, texture, smoothness,
Yeah.
the cap, the easiness of squeezing out, all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like it super sharp and spicy and like cutting my tongue off, right? my 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 husband likes it super mild. Like when I
Yeah.
taste his favorite taste, but I'm like, yeah, that is nasty. Like,
Yeah.
where's the right? I need it to hurt me.
That is hilarious. I'm thinking of like a big red, like cinnamon flavor. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, right.
Yeah.
I I need it to have some. If it's white, it ain't. I already know it's this ain't going. Mm-mm. It's got to have some color, some specks, You know, I'm just saying that. This is just a small example, right?
Yeah.
But when I think about that, in the grand scheme of things, one really is not ever going to be, in its complete sense, superior over the other,
Mm-hmm.
because really it's about like and preference and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, preference. Absolutely.
right?
And that is the part about this undoing, unwinding, unlearning for me is competition slash comparison, really. Comparing
Yes.
myself to what else is on the shelf. And it's like, girl, did you not hear what you said a few minutes ago? Like, it's you.
It's
It's
you.
you that your customer wants. It's you that your partner wants. It's you that, you know, gets to bring this dream forward because the message came down to you. Right. And so that is something that I have really been working through in um understanding that, one, I don't need to compare myself to anyone else, and then the superior, like trying to, not trying to be superior, possibly being seen as someone's competition, or to, this is what I'm, let me reel it back because there's so many
Mhm,
things that are
mhm,
coming through my mind at the same time. um Something that I mentioned earlier this week that I want to speak to is making sure when you're looking at people who are in this healing space, not thinking that you're below them, you're beneath them,
mhm.
like they are all the way up here. And I remember a friend of mine was like, I can't breathe like that, so I'm not even going to try. And I was like, but
Mm.
you don't have to breathe like me, right? I have been practicing, right? This is something that I continuously do. And when you practice, you will be able to get there. But counting yourself out because you can't breathe like your instructor, or counting yourself out because you can't do
Mhm.
instructor, or you can't journal every day, like, like,
Right.
don't count yourself out just because you are not in the space in which the person that you are viewing, in this case is Latoya and I, with what you think, what space you think we are in compared to yourself, right?
Well.
Right? We only have an hour each of these, once a week, to share with you parts of us. That's
Right.
not the fullness of our story and who we are and our experiences. So, one, give us some grace to know that we are human beings out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and you are also a human being who is coming here for the tools to figure these things out. And I think right now we are in a space where I'm hearing a lot of people talk about they're in a space of transformation, and there's so many things that feel like it's falling apart, like in their relationships, in their job. They're not happy with how their body looks or what they're eating and all these different things, and they don't know where to start. And I think sometimes not y'all, people look at us and be like, well, they're already there, like I can't be like that. And that's not what we're here to do. We're here to share
Mhm, mhm.
bits and pieces that you can take along the journey with you, so that you can have better relationships, so that you can feel better about how your body looks and feels, so that you can speak up and share what is going on for you, so that you can feel better overall. Right?
Overall,
Um,
overall.
so yeah.
So let
I,
me piggyback on this. I wanted to share again. It might be more of a humorous light.
I like that.
I wanted to find. Oh, okay. I'm gonna find it because I want to be accurate. See, that's my problem right there.
No, it's
That's the
good.
problem right there. Um, shoot. I can't find it. I'm going to say it. So I just read I just read the headline. I didn't read the whole news piece, but it happened earlier this week that one of Coca-Cola's employees tried to steal the secret, right? And I think they labeled it. I don't remember the number. Somebody, if you read it, correct me, but I think it was like $3 million, right? That they it might have been more. It might have been $300 million, but anyway, it's an astronomical number, right?
Mhm.
This secret of Coca-Cola.
Mm,
And I was like, man, just thinking about the history, the longevity, right? Like this what Coca-Cola has built, right? And like this secret, right? This guy, I was my son and I were laughing about it, right? Because it's like a military secret, right? It's like a top secret situation that this guy, right? Like this anyway. And then I was thinking, that's the problem.
yep. Yep.
That's the problem. Instead of really focusing and creating your own secret, you're trying to steal theirs,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're not ever going to be another Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not. Right? There's nothing you can do right now to be another Coca-Cola. And we shouldn't even try.
Mm-hmm.
They did that. That's their thing. They did that.
Yeah.
That's their thing. You get to create something new.
Yeah.
You get
Yes.
to create something different. You get
Yeah.
to be yourself, and you get to walk in the beauty and the authenticity and the sweetness and the goodness of yourself. And
Yeah.
I stop. Okay, whew, because this is talking to me too. Stop trying to stop looking at their secrets. Stop taste testing their secrets. Like just we admire the greatness that is them,
Yep.
and now we admire the greatness that is us.
Yep.
And now focus, bring your energy back. That's one thing I work with my clients every time we start the session. Bring your energy back. Wherever your
Yeah.
energy has been this day, bring your energy back, right? Like bring your energy back
Mm-hmm.
and really focus on your greatness.
Yeah.
Your greatness is also a $300 million secret.
Okay.
We just have to bring it there. We
Yeah.
got to vibrate on that level. We got to
Yeah.
catch up to it, but it is it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. That reminds me, oh my God. Some guy slid in my DM yesterday to ask me if I was a coach and if I needed to acquire more leads and
Oh,
more clients and all this other kind of stuff. And if that's the place that I'm in. And you know what I said? I said, I just had a reflection that me trying to do things in a way that works for others just doesn't work for me. And I get to be more
mm,
intuitive about how I do my business.
yes,
Yeah. And
yes.
it also, it's like you don't need to go to somebody else to figure out what your dream is and how your dream should come forward. You just get to listen to what spirit is sharing with you, right? And it's the same thing. Tina Turner passed away, and Angela Bassett had wrote something that Tina had shared with her. She was like, you never mimicked me, you channeled
Mm,
who that Tina was and showed people the fullness of that Tina. You weren't trying to be me or
wow.
and I was just like, yes, yes, we are not trying to bring forth something that somebody that's already been created.
Right.
We get to bring our own flavor.
Our own flavor.
Yeah.
Our own flavor.
This was juicier than I even could have imagined. Yeah.
I did find it. It was 120 million, by the way. 120
Okay.
million.
Okay. That's still a lot.
It's still it's a whole lot
Mm-hmm.
for a drink.
Mm-hmm.
For the secret to the drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as you were saying, they honed in.
Mm-hmm.
They honed in.
Whew.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
You
Well,
feel
we can wrap up. We done been here
I know, a whole hour.
a whole hour. But we get to wrap up now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Um, so yeah, I can
Hmm.
close from my
Yeah.
end.
Tell. Hmm.
So again, you can connect with me at thepurpleKittyNY.com or on my Instagram or other social platforms, such as YouTube and Facebook at Marissa with a C, MARICAWITHAC. And what do I have coming up? So tomorrow, if you're in New Orleans, we are opening up our studio space, me and a couple of other healers, just to show people that we are here, right? Like I share this space with them. And sometimes as an entrepreneur, we forget that all we got to do is tell people what we're doing so that they can support us instead of thinking that they should know already because we made a post. So I have that. I have
Ouch.
private sessions that are virtual and in person for breath work. And then lastly, I have this my main event is Awakening the Senses. It is an event that we're having here June 17th at a space called Highballs. It is a beautiful space here in New Orleans, and we will be doing some breath work. I've teamed up with another young lady who's a sound healer and will be leading us through a cacao ceremony. So it is an
Mm.
opportunity to open up the heart, open up that sacral center, and really just get some ancestral healing through the cacao. So I'm really excited.
I'm excited for that too.
Mhm.
I have, um, yeah, I've connected with a cacao ceremony before, and I really love that you're doing so much face to face local work. I really love that.
That's my favorite.
Mm, I really love that.
Mhm.
That's good stuff. I don't know. For some reason, as you were just saying, like all these local spaces, I was like, this
Mhm.
is good. This is good
Mhm.
energy right here.
Mhm.
It felt so good.
Thank you.
Oh, that's good.
What
Mm.
do you have?
All right. Well, if you're local here in Portugal, I'm doing a beachside women's circle, full moon circle on June 4th, and we're going to do a beautiful Reiki foot bath and really connect with earth and connect with ocean water and really do some burial of um, some emotions that don't serve us anymore. Maybe some of those apps and some tapes that are running in the background.
Mhm.
We get to bury those and let the ocean wash over and heal us.
Mhm.
And really clear and rebalance that foot chakra, opening up the path even more just for earth energy and energy to flow through your body and do some balancing and healing. So that's June 4th. That's a face to face here in Figueira da Foz in Portugal. And yes, and I have a masterclass coming up on June 14th.
Mhm.
And that masterclass is mastering your energy to take your next big step. So this is not coaching. This is getting energy practices. So this is an energy practice to help you really emit positive forward moving energy in your home to
Mhm.
transform and transition the energy in your home and your space, especially if you live with other people.
Mhm.
um, Really energy practice to just really clear yourself, grounding practices. So I'm going to do about 5 different practices that you get to, if you're new to this particularly, you get to come in a safe, loving space, practice it and know it for yourself deeply, and then carry it into your life to really change your life, and prepare you and clear you for that next big step. So that's June 14th. And yeah, I'll put up the link. Look out for the link on all the sites.
Okay. Find balance, y'all. Today was about finding balance as we unlearn and learn new ways of being. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. They always just really make it what it is. So thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your presence.
Yes, it's important, y'all.
It means
Thank you.
everything. It
Yeah.
means everything.
Yeah.
So thank you. And look out for us. We'll see you next week. All things being well.
Yes.
Bye,
Later.
everybody. Have a great weekend. Have a great Memorial weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. Sending you guys so much love and light.